sorry I can't be at this memorial service with all of you today, celebrating the life of Grandma Fountain. I have a few things that I would like to say. Grandma, you were a beautiful woman and a bundle of energy. You were little and a little nervous, a tiny beauty. You once told me that you worked as a waitress, and it wasn't hard to imagine you swooping around a restaurant, keeping track of everything. Going to visit you meant eating fried chicken and biscuits and gravy the next morning. And I don't think I've ever tasted anything so delicious. I remember that you would not give out your recipe for fried chicken. And Jenna made a version of it, and it was very good, but a little different. And I'll never forget how proud you were to mail us the article about you in the local newspaper, about your fried chicken with the recipe published. And after all those years of keeping it from us, I wonder how the newspaper was able to get it out of you. Visiting you meant making things. I remember the kitchen table covered with ribbon and fabric and glue guns and batting and I don't even know, bells, just all these things that were so intriguing to me as a young girl to touch. We would sit there and make Christmas ornaments. I remember we decorated photo albums. We turned just a plain photo album and, into a treasure covered in fabric and lace. I felt included there. One of 3 generations of women sitting at a table, making things and talking. Not to mention the whole family of women who came before, quilting with tiny needles and stitches. Now my Italian side of the family can recognize the wrappings of the tortellini in our tortellini soup we make for Christmas. And you know who wrapped that particular tortellini as you eat it. Your side of the family recognizes little marks of thread sewn long ago, and know just whose quilt was on your lap. And when I went away to college, I sewed my first quilting square. I planned on making a whole quilt, but I was so excited by this first square that I turned it into a pillow and mailed it to you as a gift. I was so proud to be part of this family tradition of quilting. You made me a beautiful outfit when I was in the 2nd grade. It had a skirt, a matching vest, and this white blouse with this lace detail and ribbon detail. I've made clothing for my own children, and it looks like I made it for them. This outfit that you sent me with a label inside, "Made with Love by Grandma," it looked bespoke. It was stunning. I wore it all the time in the 2nd grade, and you can see me wearing it in my 2nd grade school photo. I've kept this outfit over the years. It's the only outfit I still have from my childhood. My stepdaughter, Maddie, also wore it in the 2nd grade, and she also wore it in her 2nd grade photograph. You've made me many quilts. They're on my bed as a child and as a grown-up. My son slept on them as a baby, and they were in the laps of my family on the couch when we watch movies. I love thinking about them and how they'll give warmth and comfort to grandchildren and great-grandchildren of my future. So you made me all these beautiful things. You also made me some things that were not as appreciated maybe as the quilts and the clothing. Every Christmas, I would open up a box that contained a Christmas sweatshirt made by you. And they were god-awful. I would never wear them. They were these bright white sweatshirts that you painted with puffy glitter paint. And they shouted "Merry Christmas" amongst baubles and holly and Christmas trees. My parents would make me put it on and smile as they would take a photograph to mail to you. And as soon as the click of the shutter was over, my smile disappeared, the sweatshirt would come off. And they were beautifully made and drawn. You were so creative. And although I would never ever wear one, in my heart, I was so happy that you made them for me. It meant a lot to me. And honestly, Christmas wouldn't be the same without one. Now these sweatshirts continued to arrive even after I grew up and moved away from home. The last one came when I was about 32 years old and living in New York City. Now that New Year's Eve, a friend of mine flew in from Los Angeles and we were going to a loft party to ring in the new year. And his luggage had been lost by the airlines. He was like fretting over what to wear to this party of New York hipsters he'd never met before. And as a joke, I just handed him the latest Grandma Fountain sweatshirt. And he, like, without skipping a beat, just put on the sweatshirt and he wore it to the party. And I never could have guessed, but the sweatshirt was a huge hit. Like everyone, it was attention drawing. Everyone wanted to know where it came from and who made it. And while I've said this many times about things you've made for me over the years, this is the very first time that about one of your sweatshirts I said, very proudly, my grandma made it for me. And she makes me one every year. Grandma Fountain, I love you and I will miss you.
Just a closer walk with thee.